Hello everyone. Today we'll be talking about a tropical plant that is native to the rainforest in Peru. The plant in the center is the Peperomia Ferreraye plant. There are lots of fun names that are used to describe this plant. The Happy Bean Succulent, the green bean, and even the long bean plant. If you are a beginner, the Peperomia Ferreraye plant makes an exceptional house plant. They are really easy to care for, and to help them remain looking beautiful and healthy, it's important to get the light and water right. Now let's talk a little bit about the leaves on this plant. As I mentioned, the Peperomia Ferreraye or Happy Bean Succulent is a tropical perennial plant. But what makes this plant shine are the thick, tapered, lime green succulent leaves. They are uniquely shaped, they're slightly curved with a pointed tip. And you'll also notice that there's a darker green line going down the center of the leaves. The lower leaves that you're looking at are the older leaves, and so you'll notice that they are thicker and they take on a bean shape, whereas the leaves on the top are the younger leaves and they're more thin, long, and narrow, and does not have that distinct bean shape. You'll notice that bean shape more in the older leaves that are towards the bottom of the plant. Now let's talk about their natural habitat, because this gives you an idea of the ideal conditions for growing your Peperomia Ferreraye plant. In the wild, in the tropical rainforest in Peru, they grow as epiphytes. There, they can be found growing in the nook of a tree, on composted materials on the forest floor, or even in the crevice of rocks. So this tells you that, one, the soil should be well draining, almost like an orchid or cactus mix. It also tells you that the plant does not need direct light because they're growing on the forest floor. So if we understand the natural habitat of this plant, then we're better able to be successful in growing our Peperomia Ferreraye plant. When it comes to soil, as I mentioned, an orchid or cactus mix is ideal for your Peperomia Ferreraye plant. However, regular potting soil works just as well, as long as it's loose and well draining. My plant is growing in regular potting soil. My container does have a drainage hole, and the soil is light, loose, and well draining. Now let's talk about light. As I mentioned earlier, these epiphytic perennial plants grows on the forest floor in the wild. Therefore, they're not receiving direct sunlight. To be successful in growing the plant, ensure that it receives bright, indirect light. Therefore, an east or west facing window is ideal. And remember, it's important to avoid direct sunlight as it will cause the leaves of your peperonia plant to burn. When it comes to water, remember that your Happy Bean Succulent has succulent leaves and stems, which they use to store water. Therefore, it's important to remember to not overwater your plant. Overwatering your Peperomia Ferreraye plant can lead to root rot. Therefore, what I do is to do a quick test by using my index finger and go down maybe 1 inch 2 or 3 inches into the soil. If it's dry to the touch, it's time to water. Here I have a Peperomia Ferreraye plant growing in a west-facing bathroom window. And look how happy and healthy this plant is. It's actually glowing. When it comes to temperature, your Peperomia Ferreraye plant prefers warm temperatures. After all, they are native to the tropical rainforests in Peru. Therefore, this plant is not frost tolerant. For me in Zone 8A, I will keep my plants indoors in an east or west facing window where they're receiving bright indirect light. Regarding fertilizing, this is one plant that does not need fertilizing. The plant grows year-round, but the active growing season is during the spring and summer months. However, if you do decide to fertilize, it's important to avoid the winter months. Just look at those long, thick green bean leaves. Don't they just make you feel happy? This is where the plant shines. The plant shines because of the uniqueness of the leaves. You can very easily propagate your Happy Bean Succulent from stem cuttings. Just be sure to use a clean knife or scissors and ensure that the cut calluses over before putting it into a soil medium. So after cutting, I would wait 2 to 3 days and ensure that that wound from the cutting is calloused over. And be sure to let the soil dry out before watering to prevent root rot. These leaves on the top of the plant are the younger leaves. So you'll notice that they're not as thick and it does not have that distinct bean shape as the older leaves that are on the bottom of the plant. But look how beautiful these leaves are. They're actually glowing. So this tells you that this is a happy, healthy plant. Now you'll see towards the bottom that the older leaves has a more distinct bean shape. The Peperomia Ferreraye plant gets its beauty from its happy-looking lime and dark green leaves. To stay happy and grow healthy, there are 2 main considerations for this plant. 1, light. Ensure that the plant receives bright indirect light. Number 2 is water. It's important to water deeply and allow the excess water to drain through the drainage hole and to check for dryness before watering again. And never ever overwater your plant, as this may lead to root rot. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this plant profile. If you have not yet subscribed, kindly subscribe, like, and share this video. Have an amazing day, everyone, and I hope to see you in the next video.